Wah, 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 Jo Subang. Dear attendees, good evening. My name is Rakiam, and I stand before you today as the international spokesperson for the United Liberation Movement for West Papua. On behalf of my people, the Papuans, I extend our deepest gratitude to each of you for being here tonight. The freedom once promised to West Papua by the Netherlands has been nothing but a broken lie. What was meant to be a promise of liberation has instead been hijacked by a new, violent colonizer, Indonesia. 63 years have passed since the betrayal of our land. My father, Arnold Ab, a well-known cultural leader, was murdered by the Indonesian army in 1984, 4 months before I was born. He was one of 500,000 Papuans slaughtered by the very forces that were supposed to bring us peace. That is a third of our people. The pain slaughtered by the very forces, correction, a third by people. The pain runs deep. Every surviving Papuan carries the weight of this loss, with almost every family bearing the scar of colonial violence. And yet, while the land of West Papua remains the richest province of Indonesia, blessed with unimaginable wealth, minerals, resources, and potential, the Papuans themselves languish in crushing poverty. They live as third-class citizens in their own country, stripped of their dignity. The tragedy only deepens under Jakarta's rule. Papuans are systematically marginalized, their culture and identity erased through brutal policies like forced transmigration. Jakarta's scheme has turned us into a minority in our own land. Good jobs are reserved for migrants of other parts of Indonesia, while our people remain shackled to the bottom of society. Since the departure of the Netherlands, West Papua has become a forbidden zone, beyond reach of international media, NGOs, and even the United Nations. And yet, multinational corporations continue to ravage our homeland. World's largest tropical island, home to more than 250 Papuan tribes, who lived there in peace and balance for thousands of years, is now also home to the world's largest gold mine, the second largest copper mine. Vast palm oil plantations and fossil fuel giants exploit our land, decimating our forests, poisoning our rivers, and destroying ecosystems that have sustained us for centuries. Our culture, our way of life, these are disappearing before our eyes. The silent devastation will only intensify. Just yesterday, Indonesia's parliament passed a law that will allow military officers to hold key government positions without resigning from the armed forces. A disturbing development that further strengthens the military grip on power. And who sits at the helm of this state of terror? No other than a former general convicted of war crimes in East Timor, now the President of Indonesia, war criminal Prabowo Subianto. But the most excruciating wound for the Papuans is the deafening silence that has endured for 6 long decades. A silence from the international community, yes, but especially from here, from the Netherlands, a former colonizer. As former Dutch soldier, a civil servant, and a politically engaged citizen, it astounds me that in 2025, this story remains absent from our history books, barely mentioned in the news, and completely ignored in the halls of the Dutch politics. This special relationship we have with the Netherlands, a relationship built on promises of freedom, which have been cruelly abandoned. The situation in West Papua grows more dire every day. Yet the silence from the hate from the Dutch government persists. While we understand the complexities of international geopolitics, we must ask, how can the Netherlands, proudly known as the international city of peace and justice, remain so indifferent to the injustice it helped create? The Netherlands would do well to resolve the conflict it itself set in motion. While today the Papuans stand utterly alone, the Netherlands continues to contribute to the silence while simultaneously becoming the fourth largest investor in Indonesia. The Papuans have been forced to carry the weight of our own story, acting as journalists, diplomats, and teachers of our own history, at all our own expense. And yet, despite our relentless efforts, the world is slowly to wake up to our plight, to recognize our struggle, and to stand in solidarity for a just cause. But we are not defeated, not by a long shot. Our revolution is not only alive, it is fiercer, stronger, and more relentless than ever. Jakarta is pouring millions into diplomatic efforts, desperately trying to silence our growing influence, especially in the Pacific. But let me make one thing clear. We are just getting started. The promise, this documentary, has already sent shockwaves through Indonesia. It's creating panic and showing fear in those who once believed they could suppress or silence us forever. What's coming next will be Indonesia's worst nightmare. The West Papuan people on the verge of becoming full members of the Melanesian Spearhead Group, the Pacific Island Forum, and beyond. This is no longer a dream. It's becoming reality. When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes a sacred duty. The Papuans have learned how to be creative in the face of a world that looks the other way. Today, we stand more united, more determined, and more resolute than ever before. I stand here today to ask you all, having witnessed the grave international injustice done to West Papua and all its beings living there, I urge you to look deeper, seek the truth, and join us in a fight for justice. Together we can ensure that the world does not forget. Everyone can become a superhero. Because in darkness, one voice, just one voice, can be a beacon of hope that inspires an entire nation. Papua Merdeka, Free West Papua. Thank you very much.
There's another hero, very silently, but he's here. Welcome the director, Dan Wilde. Can you rearrange a little bit? Yeah, let's go in the middle, Come on, guys.
Thank you, Raki.
Yeah.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Raki. Thank you all for all the Papuans. It was 20 years ago that I first saw my Dutch flag waving in a guerrilla war that was completely unknown to me. I had never heard about Netherlands New Guinea before, and as it turned out, I was not the only one in the Netherlands. In the course of just one generation, an entire history had been erased out of our collective memory. For the Dutch people who lived and worked there, it often felt like abandoning good friends. As the Indonesian violence on the Papuans began shortly after their departure, their memories of New Guinea became too painful to remember. I have spoken to veterans living with PTSS, unable to reconcile their roles in this story of great injustice. What does it mean to be Dutch? I have often asked myself since a young age. Is there something to be proud of? What does my culture represent? To me, the Dutch narrative in West Papua uncovers our true nature. Opportunistic, profit-driven, and spineless. We talk about human rights, but only if there is something to gain. We are wealthy because of a long history of exploitation of others. We are tolerant, but only towards ourselves. What does an excuse by our king to the Indonesian government for our violent history in Indonesia really mean when we realize that Indonesia at the same time is committing human rights violations in West Papua? And we know it. However, we choose to remain silent and not say a word. The truth is, there is nothing to gain in standing up for the Papuan people, except for justice and human dignity. The Netherlands government carries a moral responsibility towards the Papuan people. Our late Prime Minister, Dr. de Quaye, just said it himself, by proclaiming that the best wishes of the Dutch will always remain to our friends in West Papua. I hope that you leave tonight with the same discomfort that I had first seeing my flag waving in West Papua. And I wish that this film will help to restore a long-lasting friendship with the people who could use some good friends at this moment. I would like to bring forward Oridek Ab, Corrie Ab, Eve Mamoribo, Aris Wadar, Julia Jouwe, Fien Sauer, Mico Sterkop Karels, Samuel van Voorn. If you're here,
Come on,
please come
you
forward.
must stay. Come forward. Not the front, into the front.
Dear friends, it's been quite a ride making this film. The first conversations with some of you date back to indeed 10 years ago. Thank you for your patience and perseverance. Thank you for your optimism, for your kindness, and for your friendship. Without your trust in me and in our team, this film would not have been here today. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Neither any of this would, of course, been possible today with the incredible and dedicated team of Witfilm. Please come forward. Iris Ramsma, Boudewijn Kolen, Sharon Jozef, Natasha Moes, Jan Olivier, Tom Blankert, and Deb Bergman. Dear Team Witfilm, thank you for believing in this film and for your continued support despite all of our production hardships that an archival film of this magnitude has thrown on your path. I feel blessed working with you. Thank you very much. Then I would like also have a thank you to all the creatives and journalists who have been contributed to this film. Also, please come forward when you hear your name. You know who you are. Camera Department, Jean Counet, Pierre Jesus, Adrie Schrover en Reinoud Steenhuizen. Editing, Ruben van der Haan. Sound Department, Wouter Veldhuis, Siebe Aldershoff, Pepijn Ader, Laura Popma. Colorization, Samuel Francois Steiner. Composite film, grading, Joël Sauleka. Voor Hagenfilm, Peter Groves. En voor Fever Film, Bart van den Broek. Please come forward. From the Netherlands Film Fund, Simone van den Broek, de KRO-NCRV, dedicated writer in de landen van de Rijn. And of course, our collaboration with Beeld en Geluid Samenwisseling. Please come forward, Juliette Jansen. Thank you very much. Very impressive to have you all here. Thank you very much for your contribution. Finally, after 10 years. So good to see you all here, and thank you for your contribution on this beautiful project. I think after 2 hours of having this film,
Yeah, it was a long night.
it was a long night. So I think everybody here should go for a drink. We go afterwards. Please stay for a little bit because we have a little present for you.
Yeah.
But then the rest can continue already for drinks.
Thank you